I believe in a world full of freedom, a world full of choice, a world where everyone is equal. I dream of a world filled with monster girls. Leg out. Yo, what's up guys, it's the Insane Game Freak here to bring you my anime review of Monster Musume, or Everyday Life with Monster Girls. Well, you're probably wondering, why are we looking at the manga? Well, because copyright infringement is a bitch, and I own these! And I'm being a bastard and showing off my collection. And also it works out for good physical representation, so you have something interesting to look at while I'm talking! So anyways, let's kind of get into it. So Monster Musume is a harem, ecchi, romance, fan servicey type of show. If you're a guy who likes fan service, then default you should at least be somewhat interested in this. Although the major difference with this show, as you can clearly tell by the girls on the fucking covers, along with the title of the series, this show focuses on not normal girls, but monster girls. Everything from snakes to Doulahans. Celty, eat your motherfucking heart out. So the premise of the show really doesn't matter too much, but I'll go ahead and give it to you anyway. Pretty much we have the world of humans and the world of monsters. They're finally settling their differences and starting to intermingle between the species. But the relations are pretty delicate, so they're kind of doing that whole foreign exchange student type of shtick, where it's like a person comes to another person's house in a different country and they spend time there while learning the customs and just the different traits of the new country they're in, to kind of to learn a better understanding of the other side and the way the other half lives. And that enters our main character, Kurusu Kimito. Now, a lot of you, even who watch the anime, may not know this dude's name because, well, they barely fucking say it. Throughout all of these girls, none of them actually call him his name. They call him Darling, Boss, Master, Ojo-sama, Master, Darling, Honey, Human, Mortal, and it's a fucking... If they were going to do a 10 things you may not know about Monster Musume, the first one would be, the main character's name is Kurusu Kimito. Who is your stereotypical main character of harems. He's a nice guy, he's good at doing cooking and cleaning, he has his particular falcon punch when it's necessary. He's an overall good guy. And he become accidentally roped into the situation where he didn't really agree to, but let's just say the government agent that he's been assigned with did not do him any favor, and continues not to do him any favors all the way up to the very end. So he's pretty much getting roped into each one of these girls' situations one by one, and they're being added to his house as the harem increases and the shenanigans unfold, including massive amounts of boobs, butt, and any other monster girl fetish you may particularly be into. I hope you like bondage. So other than that, there's really not too much to the plot. I mean, that's just the justification for getting the girls in the house. But even as the plot progresses throughout the anime, it's not like they go into this whole human species in a relationship thing and all the trials and tribulations that they have to fight through to make sure that they're recognized and that each side can come together peacefully. And this isn't a social commentary. It's not. It's just a dumb setup for a background to give you an excuse to have all these types of characters show up and sexually harass the main character, and for you to put yourself in the shoes of that main character thinking you're the one being sexually harassed. It's one of the reasons why you may have noticed the dude doesn't seem to have any defining facial features. Well, I think that's for a reason, because they know what... The show is pretty honest from jump. I mean, for God's sakes, the first scene in the anime is him jerking her off with her fucking tail. I mean, they don't The show is pretty, like, you will know, it's one of those shows that you will know whether you like it or not based on the first 2 episodes. If you don't like it, you won't like it. And if you do like it, you'll keep watching and you'll get through all this amazingness. By the way, these are the girls of the harem, if you haven't guessed. All of them, as of currently. So let's go through the roster. Mia, the aggressive snake. Poppy, the harpy with a big ass. Centauria, the centaur with the giant breasts. Meryl, the tragedy-obsessed mermaid. Sue, the slime girl. Rhaenyra, the arachnid. And Lala, the Doulahan. All these girls you'll meet in the anime, although you won't meet her until way late game. Like, last 2 episodes late game. Let's just say that. And they all have their unique quirks that are tied to their personalities. Now, granted, the one thing I do like about Monster Musume is the fact that not only do their quirks, their main personality traits are one thing, but they also have their animal quirks, which aren't exactly the same thing. For example, Mrs. Arachnera here has an obsession with bondage, which makes sense considering she's the one who spits out webs and everything. But her personality isn't that she just loves bondage. Her personality is more so of a realist. I mean, just think about it. Out of all these girls here, which one scares you on appearance alone? Why? Well, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. Which one of these girls scares you from their base creature? Does snakes scare you? Yeah, probably. Birds, doubt it. Horses, doubt it. Mermaids, please, they're romanticized to all hell. Slime, doubt it. Spiders is a very common fear, even though they're not bugs, but still, it's a common fear that a lot of people have. They try to represent that through Rhaenyra by having her have this whole personality trait of how she can't stand when people try to put on fake faces around her, which she would probably have to deal with a lot because, it's interspecies relationships, so they have to kind of pretend like everything's cool, even though, oh my god, it's a spider. So I like that. The same thing kind of goes with some of these other girls. But, not every one of their traits is tied to their person. Like, not every one of their monster quirks is their personality. Now, that's not saying they don't do those jokes. I mean, Poppy here, what's her quirk? She's a fucking harpy girl, or bird girl. And what's one of her main gags? That she's dumb as hell and she forgets everything. Same thing for here. Horses are known as noble and honorable creatures. What's Centauria's trait? She's an honorable knight type of girl. It's the same shit. It's not like I'm not saying it's all home runs. I'm just saying they do try to do some variation. The other thing I like about this show is that they didn't go with all the safe options for the type of girls they went with. Let's be honest. Every time a fucking anime wants to do some cute animal girl shit, what are the 3 types of animal girls they usually go for? Fucking dogs, fucking cats, fucking rabbits. And not saying this show doesn't have any of those types of creatures, but my point is, who the fuck would ever think out of your main cast you would get a spider girl, a slime, well, maybe a slime girl, I'm not totally sure, depends on your attitude, a fucking Doulahan, and a goddamn snake, considering she's like the poster child for the series. Is anyone running around going, man, I really thought I was going to get a snake girl out of this? The other thing I like about this show is the one thing I always nitpick in my harems. I hate when fucking harems forget that they're harems. Everybody wants to fucking make a romance story with harem elements. So you introduce 6 girls, even though the main character only has interest in 1. They don't fucking do that. Thank you, God. Each one of these girls gets their own type of representation. The only drawback to this is that you can really tell that they really wanted to keep them one note as fuck. Now, some of these girls do change. Probably my biggest example of that would probably be in the form of Sue. Sue pretty much starts out as a Poppy clone when it begins, and then by the end of it, she starts to come into her own a little bit. But the whole point is that they try to give each girl their own time. So if you're a fan of one of these girls or multiple girls, you won't have to go through the aggravating feeling of sitting there watching the show going, when am I going to get another Mia episode? When am I going to get another Meryl episode? When am I going to get another Lala episode? You don't have to go through that because each girl pops back up in one way or another. And that's what I really enjoy. If you're going to give me a fucking harem that has 6 different girls, let me have the ability to like every girl instead of their introduction and then you ditch them. Which happens a lot in shows that don't understand what a harem is. Fucking Two Love Rue, I don't know, but I know fucking Rosario Vampire. you piece of shit. And I'm talking about the manga particularly because I know the anime doesn't follow the manga much. That's besides the point. I'm going to piss off a whole bunch of fans, so let's move on. As far as the animation for the series goes, this show is way better animated than what you would think it would be. And actually, it doesn't seem to get worse. It actually seems to get better as the series progresses. By the end of it, we're getting on some relatively high quality scenes, and I'm sitting there going, is that what we're doing here? Apparently, harems have gotten a little bit more high tier in terms of the animation. The soundtrack is about safe. It's pretty safe. It's pretty basic, to be honest with you. They even go for the traditional barnyard music in terms of certain ridiculous rowdy scenes. It's anything amazing, but it gets what it needs to do done, and you won't run around screaming, God, I hate the OST for the show. The OST is so bad. Now, for those who are fans of the manga and were curious, and granted, you probably already read it, but if you're curious, the anime does follow the manga for the most part. The anime in particular probably covers the first 6 volumes, although it is missing a chapter that will be eventually getting an OVA that's in volume 4. But for the most part, it covers everything from volume 1 to 6, whereas these 2 volumes, obviously there is not enough material to do with season 2 as of right now, because we need another, 4 fucking volumes to do that. But my point is that each volume is represented. And not even all of volume 6 is there. So if anyone's curious about where they should start, if they wanted to get into Monster Musume, you start in volume 6. It's like near the end of volume 6. I think within the last few chapters. It's a faithful adaptation. It pretty much animates every single scene except for one chapter and a few scenes in some of the other episodes. But nothing... It's nowhere near as being egregious or being a completely different show. It's pretty fucking consistent. The show also has the advantage of introducing almost most of its girls in like the first 6 episodes. I think the only girls that aren't introduced by episode 6 in this show, I think, are these 2. And I might even be wrong, because it might just be her. But I think these 2 are the ones who aren't introduced. The show's about, 12 episodes going into probably 13 when you count the OVA that's coming out later on this year in 2016. You may be watching this later, may not even know that. It'll probably already be out for a lot of you later on, depending on how late you see this review. It's not the fucking point. It doesn't fucking matter. So there is a possibility for a season 2 if anyone was interested, but if you don't care, volume 6 will be where you start in terms of continuing where the anime left off. Although, considering half of the appeal of this show is also the fan service, just know going into this, and granted the anime will tell you within the first 10 minutes of the first episode, the show is pretty fucking raunchy. You know, they don't really give a flying fuck. And because it's been after all the Blu-rays are released, I would suggest watching the uncensored version because, let's be honest, half of the reason some of you will be interested in this show is for all titties and ass, the titties, the slime titties, the headless girl titties, man. The other thing I enjoy about the show is that it has good variety in terms of its monsters. You know, in terms of the main cast, you see the diversity there, but even later on, you get introduced to a fucking dread, a fucking devil, a fucking zombie, a goddamn cyclops, an ogre. You know, if you're gonna play up the monster girl aspect, you give me different types of girls. Don't give me this fucking 3 or 4 safe ones and then just hang around the safe zone. Get weird and stupid with it. Which, luckily, if you are the one who is interested in seeing different types of girls and their different quirks based on the animals that they're based on, keep reading the manga because things get kind of ridiculous in these 2 fucking volumes. You get introduced to a few more types, some of which are old favorites. I shouldn't have to explain that, but if I do, don't worry about it. You'll get it if you get into the manga. I think it's a fun show. It's nothing insanely deep or fucking philosophical or even really... It has its moments of being emotional, but even then, it's what this series boils down to is exactly what's in the title. Everyday life with monster girls. The way this show plays out is that different shit happens. There are arcs, but different shit happens, and it's all based around different types of monster girls. And if you're into that, check it out. If not, it'll make for good masturbation material. And if you don't want to do either of those things, just fucking dislike the video and move on. But anyways, that has been essentially my review for Monster Musume. I personally enjoy the hell out of the series, as evident is me collecting the volumes. Volume 9 comes out. I get some Mero and some Lala representation. Yeah, boy. That's besides the fucking point. If you do want to check out the series, I know the censored version is on Crunchyroll's site. Although, if you want to see the uncensored version, and I'm pretty sure most of you would, it's floating around on the interwebs. And also, if you want to see the truly uncensored version, which is the manga right here, I'm pretty sure you can find that in your Barnes & Noble, although you might want to put on a coat and hat when you go check it out, unless you are very comfortable with your purchases. As you can see, well, as you don't see, but I'll tell you, I bought these off Right Stuff, although I have no problem buying this shit in stores. I've kind of gotten past that point. You know, when you start collecting figures, you kind of had to walk away from being embarrassed about every little fucking thing, you know. Anyways, that's essentially my review for Monster Musume. Please tell me your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Life's a game, play to win, and I will catch you guys later. Peace. Ragnara, you fiend, you. And that's why we love you.